while back when I was working on development of a site, and it just struck me, and there's something about this image. This guy is just, he's sitting there on the rocks and he's looking out over this massive sort of uncharted territory. Well, there is a little path that's kind of carved out there. To me, it just symbolized, like, the road ahead is so unclear. And what does it look like? And can we envision, you know, how to get from here we are today in 2017 to what does 2027 look like? And how do I want to get there in the next 6 months? What is stopping us from getting there? I hope I just ruined your day. Because I really think it's just one thing that's really stopping us. That is like the dirtiest word that's not 4 letters. Because it is so prevalent in corporate America. It is entrenched. It's the safety net. You know, part of my story is I worked for the Proctor dealerships for 12 years when I first moved to Tallahassee in 1996. And the Proctor family, whether you like the car business or the family, or if you know them, I'll give them one thing: they're not afraid to try something new, and they're not afraid to do something different. And they created an environment for me to be able to really go out and do some things. I remember launching our website in 1998, and people were like, "Who's going to go on the internet to buy a car? That is so ridiculous." No, that was exactly where we needed to go. But the status quo is, it's this invisible force that ties our hands behind our back, that crushes our creative spirit, that limits our thinking about what's possible and what could we do if, you know. And I think the less we ask for permission, right, and go out there and not be afraid to fail, is how you're going to find innovation. I was recently looking up an article I came across about the top 50 companies of 2017. One of the companies that I came across, who's familiar with Udacity? Is anybody familiar with that? Really? The teacher in the room, right? Where are you? Who's the teacher? Someone's a former teacher. Okay, I'm gonna look at my notes. They didn't come. It was the Builders Association. They had a teacher. Somebody was e-learning. Who was e-learning? Huh? Yes. Yes. Okay. So Udacity has created a business model of online learning. They're created nano degrees, and what they realized is they formed partnerships with businesses, whether they were tech companies or whether they were financial companies, and they went to these companies and said, what are the skill sets, what are the knowledge paths that the future employees of your business need to have? And so through that business model, they've created 15 nano degrees that are available online and are now funneling these skilled persons into these companies ready to hit the ground running. There's no retooling, there's no curve adjustment, they are ready to go. And I thought that's really interesting that they've partnered with these organizations, because you know, we look at our university systems today and they're under great threat. I mean, that's probably one of the greatest threats to the future in the next 10 years is, will they even exist? That's crazy. So, if you want to itch that scratch for what does innovation look like, Google most innovative companies of 2017. And take a look at some of the areas that are some of the companies and what they're doing. There's some really cool stuff. What's happening in biomedical right now is absolutely off the chain. And I see hints of you guys kind of hinting at course, leading people towards different courses and building knowledge, which I think is such a great value to your members that you're doing that. I know Superlube has their own online learning center, which is fantastic. So you guys are already doing some innovation, which is why you're out in front. And so I want to encourage you to continue on that path. But ultimately, everyone in this room, whether you are competing for customers, or whether you are trying to retain members, ultimately you're all trying to do one thing. There's just the one thing that you're really trying to do, and that's influence decision. That's what everybody in this room wants to do. You want to influence that audience, that particular segment, that particular vertical, in making a decision that's favorable to your business. And so then the question really is, do you have their attention? And it's really hard right now. It's really hard to get people's attention because we are so distracted. I mean, my girlfriend and I, we constantly, kind of nudge each other, and it's like, are you seriously on your phone right now? We have those conversations because we're looking on Facebook or we're checking our email, and so we both have to check each other, and put the phone down. But yeah, I mean, look at this diverse group of folks here. I mean, any one of these people could be someone that is your target audience. And look at every single one of them are young. Are they? She's my age, isn't she?
Young.
Yeah, young. Right?
At 20.
All right. So let me ask you a question. If you really want to get the raise, right? What do you need to do? You need to get more attention. And if they haven't put the raise on the table now, then that means there's room for improvement. How are you going to do that? I wish I could tell you there was some amazing tactic, some strategy that's a best kept secret, But the fact of the matter is really not. What it really boils down to is, are you remarkable? Is your company, when people meet people of your company, or when they go to your website, or when they read your newsletter, or they go to your Facebook page, or they follow your tweets, is there evidence that your company is doing remarkable things? And sometimes being remarkable doesn't have anything to do with you being you. Sometimes it has to do with the fact that you acknowledge other people are doing great things. Especially for those of you who are in the association, coalition, organization world, if you recognize the good things, the innovation that's happening within your organization, within your sphere of influence, recognizing those acts and those things, whether that's through a social media post, or whether it's through a 15-second video clip, or all the different creative ways we can tell a story, that's how you start to sound like a company that's remarkable, because you're not totally obsessed with yourself. And I think about a lot of you guys, we're in the summertime and associations, what do we do in the summertime? Everybody's gearing up for the big summer conference. And what's cool about summer conferences is it actually is that one time where collectively we do celebrate the remarkable. You have awards programs, you have recognition that happen throughout the year. And I think what sometimes we lack in is carrying that spirit and that tone throughout the rest of the year. We get so wrapped up in the day-to-day minutia and the pressure of getting that thing out, getting that message out, that critical company objective out, that we forget about what it was like at the conference when that company or that chapter or that person stood up and was recognized for doing something remarkable. Whether it was a percentage increase, or whether it was works in the community, or whether it was a tangible thing or whether it was an intangible thing, they were recognized for it. And what ends up happening, the more and more you do that, especially through new media, you build social capital. And I feel like we're all guilty. We're guilty of it at RBOA and Digital Ops. We do the same thing. It's almost like we're on the digital corner with our digital bullhorn saying, "Look how cool we are! Look at this great thing. We got some really great stuff. You're gonna need this. This will satisfy your whatever it is, the itch for the thing." But the more we can flip the table and talk about the great things that are happening in and around us, the more people start to believe in and feel like they're a part of something remarkable. Here's the challenge right now. You can be a remarkable company, but if you are not aware of our society and how we're moving, and how addicted we are to on-demand, it's not even funny. Just think about all the things that have changed. I don't know if anyone in this room has a phone book at their desk anymore. No, you don't. When you need to find a place, we have a new thing that we use to get that information. It's we want that information and we want it right now, and we want our content and we want it right now. And sometimes I want it, I don't want it right now, I want it like 4 hours from now. So I want it when I want it, the way I want it. And if anything about innovation that you're doing in your company right now, it should be tailored to that. It should be tailored to that desire to be able to give and provide on demand. Whether that's through your social media, whether that's through your website, whether that's through your email marketing campaigns. Everyone, I wrote this stuff on my whiteboard in my office. Just go in there and write on demand and just leave it up there for the rest of the year. Because that's the vehicle that will help drive how you're going to change things. So we know that based on what Google has told us, more than half of all Google searches are made from a mobile device now. So last December there was a pitch change where the majority of Google searches were made from a desktop. Now the majority is made from a mobile device. One of the most innovative companies, I think in the last decade for sure, has been Apple. For sure. And I say that begrudgingly as an Android fan. But the fact of the matter is they put the internet in our pocket. I mean, think about Apple 10 years ago. It's 2007, right? They had the iTouch, they had first generation iPad, I think, then. And the iPhone was just about to come out. My time, 2006, 2007, I want to say. But they didn't stop there. You know, they kept thinking differently about how this device could be implemented. They kept thinking about if we can put all of your music and all of your books in this little thing, why couldn't we put everything else there too? Why can't everything be available at your fingertips? And they just kept going with that. What if everything was simple? Have you thought about that? How many times do we make things so complicated? You know, and part of that is because we know the technology, and there is complex technology behind it. And I am so guilty of this as a web developer. When someone comes to me and says, I want to do this, I start thinking, oh, I'm going to need this, and I'm going to need this. And I start building all the little pieces that need to go behind it, instead of taking just a minute and thinking about what you're saying, and then really thinking about the simplicity of what it is, the end result that you want to have, and let that drive it. And so for those of you who are in the room, and maybe you're not the person that puts the technology together, maybe you're the person that's responsible for saying, hey, why don't we come up with an idea that while people are sitting in the service bay getting their oil changed, we know they're going to be on their phone, why don't we take advantage of that somehow? Why don't we install some type of Wi-Fi apparatus and then create something remarkable? And start from there. By the way, I'm taking advantage of that 1776 offer. That's pretty good. I like that. I didn't come up with that, but that's a good one. So these companies have done just that. Amazon didn't just stop at product fulfillment. And you know, we were working with a client that had an e-commerce store, and he had been struggling for a number of years to sell his product, and honestly, he was just being a little greedy. He was charging people nearly $20 for shipping. His product was a book that was about 275 pages, so it was pretty heavy. His actual cost was about $11 for shipping. The product itself was about $70, but his profit margin inside of that $70 was pretty significant. And he was so just wanting every slice of the pie and really maximizing profit levels that he was literally shooting himself in the foot. So after about the first month of setting up the greatest promotional ads, setting up all the Google tracking, making sure that, you know, we had unique codes and we could, you know, all the right implementations of a good digital ad campaign, and getting really the same results that he had before. I mean, we incrementally increased a little bit. But I got with him one month and I said, the next month, and I said, listen, if I was one of your customers, you have an amazing, your product is really actually amazing. It's really unlike anything in the marketplace. You've really put together something unique. But we live in Amazon.com. We live in Amazon Prime days. And if shipping's not free, I'll go find an alternative, just for the principle of it. So I convinced him. I said, take the $11 that you have to pay to the company for shipping and build it into your overall cost, suck it up, and let's offer free shipping for the month of May. Product sales increased 1,000%. They went through the roof. Literally 1,000%. But he had been stuck. He had been trying to sell the same book product for like 5 years, and he just, you know, scraping by, just, you know, and then all of a sudden, man, we flipped that Amazon Prime strategy on, or it became relevant, you know, and bam, the floodgates open. But you know what? He had to take a hard look at the way things were and look at the money and say, you know what, if I want to continue to get the results that I've been getting, I'll do that, or I can do this for the next 30 days. What's going to kill me? I've only been selling 1 or 2 books a month, you know, and we pushed him up to like 70 books. Oh my gosh. Netflix. I remember when I signed up for Netflix the first time, and I was like really debating if I was going to sign up for the 2 CD plan or the 3 CD plan. That was the dilemma, right? And what did they do? Who was their challenger? There was a company that you could. It was like the Circle K of video. What? Who is that? Really? Yeah. Okay. Do you want to be Blockbuster? No. You don't. So, oh my gosh, Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. It really is. I love Publix. I love it even better now that they deliver. Yeah. Do you know? So $35 minimum order. They do mark up the products a percentage, but they deliver within a few hours to my street. Some of your streets are not applicable. I'm sorry. Evidently, I must have met their target demographic. I don't know why.
Radius.
Yeah. But dude, talk about innovation. Talk about not being complacent. I mean, they are killing the marketplace. Right? And they're still coming up with another idea. Your CEO and owner are going to be so pissed at me when you go back today. She'd be like, you know what? We should totally do that, what I've been talking about for the last 6 months. So we have to talk about this. This wouldn't be a proper web class if we didn't talk about it, but 80% of you in the room today, your sites are responsive, so you already know what it is. So kudos to you. The one group or a couple of groups that weren't, one of them didn't show up. So here's the problem. Because we live in an Amazon Prime world, because we live in a Netflix streaming environment, and because we live in a published shipped world, your audience expects that level of sophistication at minimum. Otherwise, your value proposition is not what you think it is. So I think, you know, the important thing is to look at the fact that the mobile device, we as web developers, and again, I've been doing this for the last 10 years, I design on my desktop. Now, granted, in my multiple monitor screen, I have an instant change that takes one of my screens into the mobile format, and so I'm designing over here on one side full screen while I hit the refresh button on this little column that looks like a mobile device. And so I'm constantly looking at that because that's really how my clients, customers, members, over half of them look like that. And maybe you're in a unique position. I know there are some organizations that their desktops still outweigh the mobile device. In some of those instances, you know, there's corporate constraints. Government entities right now still have a pretty strong desktop environment because a lot of their employees and a lot of their staff work in that. But when you move into human services, when you move into e-commerce, when you move into hospitality, when you move into real estate, when you move into insurance, automotive, yeah, I mean, just about every other sector, mobile is where it's at. So we won't spend a whole lot of time there. Oh my gosh, PDFs freeze my phone. Are you kidding me? Stop with, if somebody comes to you and says, can you put this PDF up on the website? Just say no. I can't do that.
Come on, we just got rid of Flash.
Yeah, that's painful. That is so painful for corporate America. So, you know, one of our clients, they do an amazing job. They work in the engineering field. They have a massive amount, over 50,000 members, customers, and you know, for the last decade, they've done a fabulous print newsletter. Gorgeous. Way outdated. No one reads it. So finally, we convinced them. They were at least going to Constant Contact, and they were creating sort of a news bite, news brief style. But ultimately, if you wanted to read the newsletter, you had to download the PDF. And at least we got them to compress it to under like 5 meg. But still, that kills your phone. Are you kidding me? So we ultimately convinced them, really because they had a change in staff. Sometimes that's what it takes. Sometimes you have someone that has dug their heels in so deep, they are not going to change. You are not going to change the way I do my job. I get it. Finally, that person left. And so we're like, hey, cool, guess what you could do? You could take each one of these articles that you've been killing yourself in InDesign, trying to line up and do all that stuff, and you can make an individual post for each one of those individual articles, create a news brief style in your email so that you get headline, excerpt, thumbnail, read more. Boom, boom, boom. News brief style. Holy cow, readership went through the roof. Then we started getting analytics based on the clicks because we could see what they were reading and what they were passing up. Sorry, Chairman's Corner, boring. Other stuff, actually more insightful. And then guess what happened? Then, for the people who weren't subscribing to the newsletter, that information was singularly available on the website and easily shareable on their social media. Just that one article. I really want to share this, but I'm not going to share your PDF. It's 5 meg. My friends will kill me. And so that was just one little bit. Again, I'm not telling you anything that's earth-shattering here, but it was disrupting the status quo to put together that process. Now let's take it to the search engine optimization standpoint and the implications of that, right? So you have this newsletter and you have these topical pieces of information that are being written by members, by the board of directors, you know, various community leaders, etc. So then what we did was we created it's almost like an anchor path to where inside of that post, we linked back to one of the core static pages. You guys do this on your site, it's really cool, kudos, to one of your core service areas. So you have pieces of information that's relevant that just got posted yesterday or today, but you're linking back to a piece of static content that's the same topic area. The search engines love that because you've got new information that's referencing inbound links to historical content. And that is a absolutely foolproof SEO best practice. So if you're not writing current articles that are updated information about the services and programs that you offer, that's a point you can go home and implement today. And then you get the benefit of sharing that with the human eyeballs in social media. So you need the attention of the search engines as well as the human eyeballs. So here's the question. Are you the go-to? You set it up so perfect, Matt. Thank you very much. You're like, I am the go-to. Right when we started the meeting, I was like, yes, you are the go-to. So here's the thing. I'm as honest as I can be, I would really like to know all of you better than I do right now. I know Leanne, I know Marie, I know Lou a little bit. I don't know all of you, but I would really like to know you guys more because I really respect what you guys have done in the past. I mean, some of the work that you've done, in this room there are some really creative geniuses. And I want to be around creative geniuses. So a little bit later, I'm going to give you my card. I really don't want your business. I'd really just like to be kind of a go-to of like, hey, I got this idea, whatever, you know, because what does that say? Like iron sharpens iron, you know, creative juices, you know. I'd love to, I want to grow my network of that kind of thing. That's part of how I want to accomplish my 10-year goal in the next 6 months, is to surround myself with more people who can totally nerd out with me. So, yeah. So are you the go-to? So is your company the authoritative voice in your field? Right? I'm going to check the times. I feel like it's like 3 days from now. How are we doing here?
Got 40 minutes.
Really? No, these guys want to get out of here in like 20 minutes. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, I think I want to talk a little bit about each one of these just for a second. I think the sharing part and the social media, I think you guys have that pretty good. I think that somebody in this room is like literally George Lucas, filmmaker. I'm not going to point any names, but you know who you are. And I don't see any video on your website. So you have an unlimited amount of talent and resource and energy around that kind of creativity, and it's untapped. I don't even see a YouTube channel. So I just want to like really encourage that person right now to pull the trigger on that. Some of you are programming geniuses as well. You have been working in code for a while, and really what that ultimately means is that you're problem solvers. And I think that I just want to make sure you understand that you have permission to not follow authority or the status quo and just go ahead and break stuff. To write new stuff that people will actually want to read, consume, and share, and love, and like, and oh my God, emoji on. Okay? And then the other group of people that are in this room, you guys should have, there are plenty of third-party plugins that will activate a Windows-based, I don't mean Microsoft Windows, I mean browser window, chat function. Some of you in this room are connectors like I had never seen in my life. Like your connections, and I've seen you interact at conferences, I've seen you interact with other people. Like you build relationships like nobody's business. And to tap into that unlimited resource would be to throw up a chat button and start working that muscle. You don't need to bring up the idea and implement who's going to run it. You run it. Because I know you think you don't have enough time on your plate right now, but you have more energy than you can imagine when you start connecting people. And you will itch that scratch with the chat feature. Just try it. Don't ask them, just put it on. And your IT guy is like, I want to kill that Michael Winn.
But there's no point in explaining it to some people who are a little bit older that are your boss, and you just throw it on there because trying to explain it to them is...
Great. What's the point?
It's going to take me 30 minutes to explain it. Just
Yeah.
let me do it.
Right.
That's what we need to be doing. Yes.
Pull the trigger. And I think the days of blogging are definitely, they're back. And there is more reason than ever to activate a blog / news feed. And again, what's the purpose? The purpose is connecting The purpose is emphasizing remarkable. So there's activating the blog because you need to engage people, and then there's activating the blog to engage the search engines. Because unless your content management system has a way to ping when you add something to a static page, or you're resubmitting your sitemap after every change, which I doubt you are, because I don't do that. I rely on a systematic program that automatically sends that signal out to let them know, hey, we got new content, come check it out. So are you the go-to? Okay. Search has radically changed, folks. And we are just spiraling to a completely different plane than where we are. How many of you have an Alexa at home? That thing is so cool. Alexa, play Coldplay. Yes. Alexa, what's the weather? Right? My girlfriend has like the little mini ones in all the bedrooms in her house. Because like she has teenage boys, and so she's so tired of them asking her questions. But seriously, we have become so, and you guys know what this is, right? This is the infant stages of AI, right? So if you go to the 17 companies, or the 50 companies in 2017, biomedical, AI, are two of the biggest areas of innovation. 3D modeling, but yeah. So look at all these people. They all have a question, but they're all using a specific device to get to that question, which has fundamentally changed the way we implement SEO. It's no longer necessarily a key phrase. It's become something even more. This is what's happening now. So, we had a client that was, they had a very specific niche segment of the market that they wanted to capture. They could have easily gone for watermelon sales. It's a growing market in the South. It's very popular. But we encourage them. I'm hiding the real thing here, if you couldn't tell. So we told them, why don't, instead of going for watermelon sales, let's go for watermelon sales, or let's go for watermelon eating on a picnic table. And they're like, yes, because we sell picnic tables too. And you know what? We're going to get in a tablecloth business also. This is perfect. So we're not just going after people who are in the watermelon, who are interested in watermelon, because watermelon could be anything. Watermelon could be lotion, bubble gum, whatever. But eating watermelon on a picnic table is a very long tail term. But guess what? They went from page not relevant to number 1. Now, I will tell you that we implemented a key strategy that was very, very super genius. And it's kind of combined with an old school tactic from our public relations team. We wrote a press release. But you know what we did? We linked that thing like sticky juice, watermelon juice. And so in that, you know what? We didn't care if it ran in the Democrat. We didn't care if it ran in USA Today. We didn't care at all. What we did care about was when we put that sucker on PR Web, it automatically got picked up by about 300 online media sources. Those 300 online media sources carry a valued weight in the search engine eyeballs. So for all of those little links that were inside of that press release, that were all linking to the pages on that watermelon website, was really the key. We wrote the piece of content, we made sure that the title was correct, we made sure that we mentioned the keyword, enough times in the text. We made sure that we had at least 300 words on that page of content. We made sure that we had internal links to other content within the site itself. I mean, we did all the best SEO practices for a page. And then we wrote this SEO press release, and we sent it out, and literally within 72 hours, we went from page nothing to number 1. So that is one of the tactics that you may not have access to, but you could get your own PR web account. It's not very expensive. It's only like $250 a shot, to send out the press release. So you could do that yourself. Still, that's not very costly. It's cheaper than a base level PPC campaign, right? Pay-per-click campaign with Google. So if you have a specific new area that you really want to emphasize, you got to understand that when someone puts in their watermelon sales, they're not going to probably find you. But if they put in eating watermelon on a picnic table, you are going to crush it. You own it, right? So if there's any one SEO trick that I want you to leave here today with, is to think long tail. Because that is a place where you can own that search. And long tail phrases are in line with what we're seeing in asking phrases. So the question is FAQ the new SEO? Now, so here's another thing. If your FAQ page is set up to, basically be a single scrolling page forever, and each one of your, key phrase items are on that one page, you're pretty thin in your architecture, your information architecture. What you need is each one of those FAQ questions to be on a dedicated page by itself, to where you have the title, the question, part of the answer, read more. And then take that to that single landing page. And that will be a way more effective search engine strategy than it will be. Now, your end user will still get the information. They'll still be able to scan quickly through the questions and get to the one that they want, but it's more time on your end to execute that implementation. But the long-term investment of that strategy is well worth its weight in gold. So, are you syncing your digital channels, right? So, obviously, you guys all know that your website, your blog is your hub. It's the center where everything comes from. I think the piece that most of us miss is that a lot of times we publish content directly to the directly to the social media channels, and we don't create that opportunity for them to go back to link to our website. And I'm not saying that you necessarily have to do it every single time, but I do think that there is definitely some value, and Google has already confirmed it, because they've already done the testing that company A that's been around for 50 years versus company B that's been around for 5 years, who has every social media channel on the planet, has excellent SEO structure and content architecture, can blow company A out of the water because of all of the signals, links that are coming from their social media account that are linked to content on their website. Okay, that's just a basic fundamental, right? We know that. Why is that? Why would Google do that? Here's the thing. All of these platforms want to make sure that their users and their user profiles are as pure and as human as possible. Why? Because they have advertisers. And if Facebook can say that they have 2 billion accounts and they're real people, then I am more likely to spend money with them. If I am some other platform that can easily be gamed by some genius at MIT by writing a program to create a profile to insert malicious code and or other links that are nefarious, then you're probably not going to see a future. But the harder a company makes it, the harder the social media company makes it to create a profile that literally takes a human to do it. Now, yes, you can create AstroTurf, is what I call it. Fake accounts made by humans for whatever reason. Fake news, yes. You can. But ultimately, because of that authoritative power, you have a social media account that is sending information about watermelons to a site that focuses on watermelons that you eat at a picnic table. That website's going to rank higher than a similar website on a similar topic that doesn't have social media accounts, that doesn't share content. And then here's another thing that'll blow your mind. So there's a weight from the algorithm from Google that says, okay, great, you have a link that goes from Facebook to your website, and you have people that are sharing on Twitter content that has a link back to your website, but then they go like 6 degrees to set Kevin Bacon deeper, and there's like, how many followers does that Twitter guy, gal, have that just shared that content compared to the other guy who shared it, who is a ghost with an egg symbol in his profile? Right? Like, their algorithm is freaking genius. They know when it's really good content shared by someone who is of influence. And that's what impacts search engine optimization. I feel like I'm talking in Russian. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
I'm fine.
Okay, cool, because no one's nodding, you're all like asleep. Okay, all right, good, okay.
We're just in awe of your words.
Whatever.
So is there, I know that I have like my Facebook and Twitter
Yeah.
linked together, so when I post somewhere it goes to the other. So
Yeah.
is there any way to
It's kind of lazy, Leanne.
add to
You know,
the
it's
rest
kind
of them?
of, yes,
Yes?
don't do that.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what should we do?
Because here's the thing. When I go to Facebook or when I go to Twitter or when I go to LinkedIn, I'm in a totally different mindset.
Mm-hmm.
I have a totally different reason why. When I go to LinkedIn,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that one, but yes.
look, just follow me. You guys get where I'm going with this. Do you know that there is a fundamental different mental game happening when someone logs into LinkedIn? They're not there to get ideas about their kitchen. They're not there to follow. They do kind of want to know what's happening maybe in their professional world, but they probably would rather get that from their relationships of people with on Facebook that maybe they're friends with that are co-workers or you know, people that are in their space that they've friended, you know, and they want to know about that. But when someone goes into LinkedIn, when I went there to stalk all of you, I wanted to know more about who I was going to talk to today. And how excited was I that you guys are freaking awesome. That was great. But then when I go to Twitter, man, it's fire hose time, baby. I just want down, dirty. That's why it's 140 characters. Well, now, okay, whatever. Anyway, the point was fire hose, right? Tell me the story, boom, boom, whatever. When I go to Facebook, it's not fire hose. It's, give me a second, let me kind of disconnect, let me check with my family, let me check with my friends. And it's also, let me get some ideas about dinner, and let me catch up with the news. I mean, it's kind of all in one, you know? It's not really just friends, family, you know? Like, I found out about that freaking SWAT team thing on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
I don't know when I watched the news last. I don't know. Never. So we have a whole different mindset of why we go where we go. So are you going to put content, uniform, one size fits all, on all those platforms? No, you should have the tone. You should meet the expectation of the person that's going into that platform, knowing that this is why they're going in there. So your text should be in the right tone. Your picture should be in the right, you know, frame. Yeah. So I get it. I get that it's easy to sync up, to connect Facebook to Twitter, connect Facebook to Instagram, boom, one thing, put it on, you know, and the fact of the matter is you've got too many plates spinning in the air as it is.
Right.
Kudos for you for just getting it done and getting it out there. So I get it. But to be remarkable, you got to somehow figure out a way, time, something to if you're going to be on that channel for the human element, you're going to need to do that. Now, for the SEO element, you could totally just link those things up, go to WordPress, publicity, set up your channels, and just fire that stuff out there, right? That's down and dirty. I get it. You know, these two guys right here are, I think, really becoming more and more, they're kind of old technology. The first one is SlideShare. It's kind of like the PowerPoint presentation YouTube. Still has a very viable channel when you're talking about business development, when you're talking about you know, sharing that remarkable story and telling it and trying to attract more people that are like-minded. If you're really trying to grow internally and bring in the right people to be a part of your team, that's a great resource. The one above it is GoToMeeting, or Join.me is another good alternative as well. You know, I'm doing more and more screencast video conferencing than ever before because, you know, we don't need to pack in another 45 minutes of travel time for me to drive to my office, meet to your office. Let's just jump on together and let's work this thing out, you know, and be efficient. We can, you know, we can still meet for drinks later. It's totally cool. In fact, I'd rather do that for 45 minutes than drive in my car. And let's just do the thing on the, you know, Join.me or GoToWebinar. The other thing that GoToWebinar is underutilized with, I think, is again, with what we're seeing from various online learning centers, is this is a really easy, low-hanging fruit for your organization to provide a learning environment for your people. The problem is you don't take the time to carve up the content in bite-sized pieces. That's the problem. Nobody wants to sit and watch a 45-minute webinar when they weren't in the room at the time and didn't get this. So if you're going to do that, and this is what we did with our client, we took it and we chopped it up into 8-minute segments. And we did like a little series and put it in a password protected area for their members, and they loved it. You know, they could just go in and they just get the one piece and they didn't have to watch the whole thing. So that is a good idea because it moves in the direction of what we're moving in as a society with regards to online learning. People want to, what you need to know is not even being taught at FSU or the University of Florida in many cases. You're going to learn it in this room. Or how many of you know about Social Media Examiner? Whoa, holy cow, write that freaking down. Socialmediaexaminer.com. How many of you know Mashable.com? Okay, write that down. Mashable.com. Holy cow, fire hose. Get that stuff. I mean, there's so much stuff going on in social media right now. It's just crazy. How many of you know Gary Vaynerchuk? One person? Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so write this down. I'm going to write it down because this is really good. I love this guy. Hashtag Ask Gary V. His last name's Vaynerchuk. It's kind of like, yeah, how do you spell that? So he's like, hey, I'll make it easy. Ask Gary V. Go check this dude out. You want to talk about, if you want to fuel kill the status quo monster, slay the status quo dragon like me, go check that guy out. He will light you on fire. Love it. Okay. So we're killing this. Yes. What would a presentation be without a cute cat or dog? My 18-year-old recently moved back into the house with her cat. And I have 2 dogs. I have a black lab and I have a golden pit lab mix mutt. And so I had to put up this baby gate in the hallway because her room is in this hallway, her bedroom's in the hallway. So I had to put this baby gate up. So like I'm always catching the cat and the dog. It's like right there at the fence, at the baby gate, just checking each other out. And I mean, the whole point, I think, to what I'm saying is we have these almost animal instincts to avoid discomfort, to avoid what we don't know, or what we've been told is not possible. And that guy was so great. I put this picture up on Facebook last night. I was like, I'm so pumped I'm going to get to use this in my presentation. Feel free to comment or caption as you will. And so people were commenting on it. I had no idea what I was going to be talking about. But yeah, it was pretty funny. So yeah, avoid innovation at your own risk. I mean, seriously. Don't be one of the B companies. Blockbuster. Borders. What's another one? There's another really good B. Oh man. Yeah, don't be one of them. Kodak. Not a B, but boy, did they screw up. They were positioned so greatly. People will have cameras forever.
It's a great story.
Yeah.
Especially when they moved into digital.
All right, boys and girls. Have we had fun today? Yes. I don't know how to say this. So, like, this last couple of minutes is not so much Q&A, but maybe what I'd like for you to do is just kind of share with the group. Are you thinking about taking something home? What are you going to do when you get out of here? Maybe share what you've written down on your note. If you want to ask a question, that's totally fine. But I'd love to kind of let everyone hear what you've written if you're not afraid. Like the cat.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead, bud. Chad, right?
Yep.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Frequently asked questions. I really like that, and creating a universal frequently asked question page, but having individuals linked over from that.
Okay, cool.
So I really enjoyed that part.
Very good. Yes.
Same.
Ditto.
I haven't checked, but do we have a frequently asked question page? Like, it's one of those like, like it's just,
Yeah.
you should have known. It should have been using it a long time ago.
Right.
But yeah.
Cool. Yes, sir.
I do love your attitude, man. I love the, hey, ask for forgiveness instead of permission. That's kind of how I live my sales life.
Yeah.
It's gotten me pretty far. People like people who are proactive.
Right.
Being proactive, having ideas. It's much better than the alternative to having to try to motivate someone to just do the status quo, because when you're managing employees, you have people who are below status quo, and you're like, hey, do this, do this, do this. I'd much rather have someone who's like, hey, Heath, I have this, this, and this. And I'm like, whoa, hold your horses. But I like it. Let's keep going, So
Very cool.
That's a good mentality to have on life.
I know you guys do some great work. We lost a great intern to your company. Last name is Phipps. She got married. She's in the Panama City area.
Cool.
Diana.
That's Phelps.
Phelps.
Oh, she is.
She used to be an intern with us.
She is a boss.
Rock star.
She's a boss lady. No, she's going to be in senior leadership in the Southeast, and she's killing the game.
Yeah, and the biggest sweetheart ever.
I'm scared.
I know
I'm
her.
scared.
I know her that way.
Okay, good.
All right, anybody else? Yes, sir.
Is there a website information out there where Google displays what helps with SEO and stuff? I mean, obviously they're not going to give you their analytic or their algorithm, but obviously things like this could help in a hierarchy and stuff. Or
so there's lots of stuff out there. One of my favorite places to go is SEO Moz, M-O-Z, SEOmoz.com. They do Whiteboard Friday, and it's a short 15, 20-minute little presentation. The guy gets on there and just kind of gives big picture. Just Google Whiteboard Friday SEO Moz, and you'll have a ton of resources. You can get a quick in and out, 20-minute, get some ideas where you need to brush up. And he does it in a, it's technical, but it's not super, it's common sense meets technical application. So check that out. Google does not reveal their secret sauce. No, they don't. And if anyone can tell you that, they're gonna, do whatever and get you there, it's a never moving target. Holy cow. Yeah, for sure. Yes, anybody else? Yes, sir.
July is a down month for us at Fast Signs.
Okay.
Not a lot of sales.
Yeah.
The free shipping thing. Free shipping.
Yeah.
Free delivery.
Right.
Of signs. So.
Do it.
Yeah. I think
That's a.
I have a question too. So Fast Signs it's a franchise. So
right.
A lot of y'all, where you have all your operations in house. We have a corporate team who creates localized content for us. They have a website. We aren't able to affect the website. We can do things like email marketing or our own social media.
Right.
So my question would be for someone like me who has
corporate handcuffs
that are not going to change.
Yep.
What would you suggest in terms of local marketing in the Tallahassee market?
Yeah. I think that the best way to do that is to go to every platform you can and put in #Tallahassee and observe. Observe who the players are. That's what I did 2009. That's how I followed Rick. I just followed #Tallahassee and started trying to find out who the influencers were. I remember going to Twello back in the day. I don't even know if they're still around. And then there was Twelple. It was like Twitter and People. I was trying to find real people that were on that social media and then looking at what they were sharing, what they were doing. So I think in terms of taking the social media temperature of Tallahassee, that would be one way. I think iHeartTally is probably another good hashtag to just kind of to watch and to make notes on, because I think your social media channel is the one area that you have a little bit of room, right?
Fast Signs?
Yeah. So you could color outside the lines a little bit there. Here's a crazy thing. One summer, when I was working at the Proctor dealership, I was a service advisor, right? I was the guy when you brought in your car and you told them what was wrong with it, and I would write it down, and I was telling the technician, I can't believe I did that. That's my Burger King. So I decided that what I wanted to do was, and again, at the time I have 3 daughters. And at the time, they were all really young. They were all in elementary school, and everything about them was award recognition for daily accomplishments. And so I came up with this idea that I would make these little thank you strips with a little peppermint. And so I got a peppermint and cut all these things up, and I was like, thank you, Michael Winn, put my initials on it, and I would run out and I would tape it to the steering wheel on the where the horn is, and I would have this little peppermint with the ribbon on it. Oh my gosh, people thought that was the craziest fun, just greatest thing ever, because I wanted to make sure I made sure the car was washed, I made sure it was ready on time, and I went that extra effort. And funny enough, that kind of spun off on some other customer service things that we did, because I went outside of the box and did something, and the Proctors ended up implementing some of those customer service ideas at the Honda store, at the General Motors store. It had a trickle effect. So don't be, again, boxed in by this is the rules and this is what they say we can do. If something makes sense and it's a good idea and it follows remarkable, do it. You'll get paid. I did. They ended up making me their marketing and public relations dude, and launching their websites, and I was the freaking service writer. secret, I don't have a piece of paper that says I knew anything about what I just told all of you. I do not have the piece of paper, so I'm probably just full of shit. Yeah. Sorry, my French slipped out right there. Okay, any other questions? Are we done? All right, y'all have a good time. Thank you very much. Woo!